Yes, Jason. Hello.
There
How
we
have
go.
you been?
I've been good. I've been real good.
Very good. I'm glad to hear it. What would you like to talk about today?
Talk about you going to Japan
Yeah, that's quite the news.
and your new band.
Kelly Garney and I play in a couple of different bands. We play in a band called No Sky Today, and this band, which I'm not even sure what the title of it is. I don't know what you would call it. I think they're calling it Kelly and Ronnie.
KKR.
Yeah, KKR. It's just it is something that we're going to be doing now. We're going to Japan with this band, and then in May, to make things a little more complicated, but we're going again into the Ohio. We're going to Ohio again in May, and we're going to actually be recording with a blues band. But in all three bands, the constant is Kelly and myself.
Okay.
Now, we're going to Japan with Kelly, and I suppose a drummer is going to be provided us there. And my friend Ronnie is going with us, and I handpicked him because I met him when he opened the shows for Yngwie Malmsteen. And he was also like, a Satriani, Steve Vai type of act where he had just a guitar player and no singer. And I was very impressed with him, and I met him again, about 4 or 5 months later. This was a year or two ago, at the NAMM show, when they were previewing the Randy Rhoads Marshall Head. And we were friends, and so I invited him. I said, we have this thing, and, we're going to go to Japan, and we've wanted to go for a long time, and would you like to be the guitar player? And yeah, he wanted to do it. So that's the information behind the band that is going.
That's big news, and I'm sure Ronnie North, this is a real pleasure for him.
I think he's pretty happy about it, yeah. And I've done a few things with him. I did a benefit concert for Haiti about 2 weeks ago. His band was playing there, and he invited me to come up to the stage, and we did Back to the Coast. And then, of course, also in the December of last year, he joined Kelly and I to play at the Whiskey. And the people that are sponsoring this event in Japan, they saw some footage of that on the internet, and that's how we are come to play at this place. That's how they were aware of us. So that's how come we were asked to go there.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of new footage with you on YouTube and stuff. Playing all these shows, the rock.
Yeah, it's been very different for me to go back and to do the shows, because truth be told, I haven't been a frontman singer in front of a band since really 1986 as far as touring is concerned. I did a few spots here and there, like I sang one song. It's usually always Back to the Coast. And so I have not performed one song and then another and then another and then another. I've not done this type of work since the mid-'80s. So it's very strange to go back to this after so many years. It's a little bit surreal, if you want to know the truth. And also, one of the things that makes this package very tempting is I get to do a piano recital as well. So I will be doing the rock concerts, and one of the concerts will be all classical music, my music on the piano.
This is going to be music from your CD, of course, probably.
I'm going to use two pieces of music that are coming up from Pride and Profanity, which we're working on as we speak. And then we're going to do Goodbye to Romance, too, but make it like a classical version.
That's all good stuff, you're telling me. So Pride and Profanity, when do you think that's going to come out?
Oh, I'll tell you what. Whenever you get into the area of when's this record going to come out, I can tell you right now by personal experience, releasing 2 already, Titanic Overture, which you yourself know about, and Portraits of Oblivion. Well, I'm here to tell you that when you make those deadlines, they just seem to come and go. And there's a million things that happen, the reasons that it cannot come out. I can tell you that I'm very, very optimistic that it will come out before the end of 2011. I hope it does. It's a very significant year for me because it's exactly 200 years after the birth of Frédéric Chopin, and it is also 100 years after the death of Claude Debussy. 1910 is the year that he passed. 2010, I'm really hoping that that will be the year that Pride and Profanity is released. We got to cross our fingers, Jason, because every time you say something like that, and it's not just me, it's other musicians who I know, it seems like the day comes and goes, and the deadline, it doesn't happen that way. So I don't just want to say a lot of dates that won't come to pass. So I will say that I certainly hope that it would be released before the end of 2010. And if not, certainly it will come out next year. Everything is recorded. It's all done. It's just that it's the mixing. And the person that is helping me with the mixing, it's very, very hard to get him. He's very much in demand. He's really, 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 really good at what he does. In fact, I'll tell you something about him. His name is Brent. I love to work with him. If you compare this guy, this engineer / producer, to a lot of other guys that are even really well known, it makes them look like a paramedic, and it makes Brent look like a surgeon. That's how skilled he is. He is absolutely amazing at what he can do with mixing and engineering. So I have to be patient and take him when I can get him and trick him into working with me, and then everything is beautiful. But then some time goes in the meantime. Plus, we are having some incredible situations come up with the artwork, and they can make up my mind on a few different things. Up until just last week, I couldn't make up my mind on the cover. I had 2 covers that were both really brilliant. So all these things serve to make a little bit of a delay, and I won't release this until it's the very absolute best piece of work that I can come up with in every single aspect, down to the fonts of the letters. It has to be the very, very best that I can come up with, or it doesn't deserve to have my last name on it.
That's a good point. You're taking it really seriously. Your artwork, going to be similar to the other one you did for the 2 albums? Or is it,
no,
totally different?
I can tell you something about my artwork for my records, and this is some information that I actually never came out and identified with anybody. So you're actually getting an exclusive. The artwork on all my records will always be vastly different. However, there will always, always, always be one united common factor. They will always show in some way a grand piano. They always are going to show a grand piano. But other than that, they will be vastly different. Vastly, vastly different.
So the whole year since I've talked to you, last April, I think. So much has come out, Randy Rhoads got a new guitar out, and I seen the video of you on YouTube with it.
Yes, did you see that?
Yeah, I did. I seen them all.
Well, that was one great, incredible, unbelievable situation. That situation right there. I cannot tell you how well my sister and I were treated. We were treated so well. It was just an amazing, amazing experience. And it's not too clear when you look at those videos. It seems that maybe they're going to release that white Jackson guitar. They're going to release 3 different versions of that guitar. It's going to be the white one, it's going to be the black one with a longer fin, and then there's even going to be another model, and I'm not too sure what that is, but I think it might be an exact duplicate of the guitar with the hardware a little bit aged and everything else. I mean, to look at the guitar in the case, it looks like they took it from us because it was too unbelievable that all the hardware is in the same condition as the hardware that Randy's guitar is in. And that was an awesome experience when all those guys got here and we opened up the guitar cases and we let them, the Jackson guys, take a look at the guitars, which took them 4 hours. And what was amazing about that experience is we had no idea that when those road cases were opened up and left open, because we had to leave it open for 4 or 5 hours so they could look, after a while you could start to smell the cigarette and cologne that was in those cases. And it smelled like Randy. And they were tripping out. Those guys were going, holy fuck.
And they never smelled it.
Yeah, and we didn't ever have those open except one time this whole time since my brother has passed on. We had it open really quick so they could film those guitars for documentary. And so that was the only time. But we took them out and shut the road cases, the guitar cases. Well, now, at this time, we left it open for a long time. And after a while, it released a smell. And those guys were tripping out. They were tripping big time. They were just looking at each other going, like we don't believe that we're getting to be in this experience.
Wow. Now, were they opened in '87 when the Crazy Train video was to be made?
No. When we did that, the only thing that they did was they borrowed the polka dot guitar.
Okay.
And it was taken just for that shoot, for when they made the Crazy Train video, and then it was returned right away to where all the guitars are. The interesting thing about that guitar is it's actually way closer to you than it is to me. It's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, and one of his outfits from Quiet Riot is also in a glass case in the Rock and Roll Museum in Cleveland, Ohio. Like he in Quiet Riot, he wore like crushed velvet pants, and he wore different color bow tie vests, and the vests matched with the bow tie. And one of those outfits, I think it's the purple one, is in the museum, and they have it for a couple more years.
And then it returns to you, to the family.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then they return it to us. Now, whether my mom wants to loan them another guitar, that remains to be seen. A lot of it is we were real concerned how well they were going to take care of the guitar. And so far, the reports that we heard, everything sounds really good. I'll be in Ohio with Kelly in May, and when that happens, I'll probably, maybe go up there and just have a little look and make sure everything's good.
Now, the guitar, also the white Jackson there, is got like black tape in back of it. Now, Randy used that.
Both of Randy's Jacksons, both the ones that he used, if you were to see them, if you were to hold them, you would notice that the back of them is completely taped with black coarse electrician's tape.
And this would be for the look, to cover up the white in the back.
Exactly. It was because Sharon wanted the stage, which was the castle set, to be completely devoid of instruments and, the color of things. She wanted it to really be an authentic castle set. So since those guitars had to be close at hand, because Randy had to be able to take one, in a nanosecond, if he needed to, like a string breaks, or if he, used the guitar in a certain, because he would change the guitars, depend on the song. I think you know it. So he had to have it face the other way, and he had to have the tape on it that was black. And the guitar in the glass case at the NAMM show, they had a exact piece of tape on that guitar. And I guess when you buy it, that's how it comes.
That's awesome. For the real fans, that is the thing.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is. And let me just get back to Japan in one way. This whole thing ties in very beautifully because some of the most loyal and devoted fans for Randy is the people from Japan. He has a very big following there, and he has a lot of different fan clubs, and they always come here in March 19, and they are very, very dedicated. They spend their money. They take their only vacation, and they'll come here year after year after year. And they really, Randy has so many great fans, and they're so devoted to him. But the Japanese people are absolutely, are just very, very fervent. They're religiously dedicated to Randy's memory. So we felt that it was entirely appropriate that in 2010, all these years later, that the Rhoads family would go to Japan. So a lot of those people that would love to go to the memorial but cannot afford the airfare and the hotel, which, by the way, certainly is not cheap, we are going this time to them. And that's a very significant part of this whole deal.
And that's a real nice thing.
It's a Randy tribute show that we are taking part in, and there are other people playing in the show too, like that little boy Yuto that played on Ellen DeGeneres' show, and he was. I'm sure you've probably seen him on YouTube.
I've seen him play with Ozzy too.
Right. Well, he's going to be taking part of the show too.
Okay. Well, that's awesome.
We're very, very, very grateful, and we're looking so forward to going to Japan, and we're very, very, very excited, very excited.
And how's Miss Sonia doing these days? Keeping busy?
We're a little busier. We went through a rather kind of a spell where the attendance was pretty much down because of the economy, because of the economic situation. The school got to the point where it's nowhere near what it was at one time as far as the number of students. Now it's getting a little bit more busy. We're getting more and more students now over the last about the last 8 to 10 months. We've seen a slow but steady increase in students. A lot of increase with real famous people coming here. People that just want to see this place. They want to walk through here. They want to experience it, And when people see it on the internet, it doesn't compare with you actually being here.
Mm-hmm.
So we've seen a big increase in that. We've seen a lot of stars and a lot of very famous celebrities come by, but we could use a little bit more students in the school.
For sure.
That's what we're hoping for.
And the economy, it's not good anywhere, not even in Canada, at this moment. But
right. I know that. And that certainly, definitely, we've felt the trickle effect here in our music school here in California. We definitely have felt the effect. But it's like you just said, it's bad for a lot of people.
And you keeping in touch with Juliana Tartar, the guitarist?
Of course. Her mother and I are good friends, and I'm always interested in what she's doing. The Rhoads family really, really likes her a lot. Well, she's a good kid, and she probably has a really good future ahead of her.
I'm sure she does, and people like me and you are gonna just do the best we can to promote her.
Yes, absolutely. She's really one of the ones that's coming up that's really going to make a difference. And she's getting better shows all the time.
Oh, I see it,
I mean, for a 17-year-old kid, she's already opened for Steve Miller, for the Doobie Brothers, for Michael Schenker like 2 or 3 times. It's just amazing.
Do you find today with the internet, I'm here in Nova Scotia, and I'm seeing all your guys' news. Do you find that quite amazing, that I almost keep in touch with you?
I find it way beyond amazing, Jason. It just is absolutely almost incomprehensible to me. It's amazing how fast things can be on the internet. When we did that show at the world-famous Whiskey A Go-Go Club on the Sunset Strip in December, by the time the show was finished and I got home, it was already all over the internet. And I hadn't taken my stage clothes off yet. And it was already out there for the whole world to see. That to me is absolutely amazing. It's amazing.
Would have Randy embark on that whole internet trip?
Well, I would like to think so, because he was very interested in gadgets and he could control things. I have no doubt that Randy would have embraced the computer wholeheartedly, and I think that he would have found some amazing ways to promote his music and to reach people through the internet. I, on the other hand, am a little bit less fortunate. I depend on the good graces of my wife. I don't know very much about that technology at all. But I do know one thing. I do know that there's people in Germany and Pakistan and Sri Lanka, and I don't know them, and yet they know a whole lot about me. That, to me, is absolutely, absolutely astonishing.
It is. Totally.
It is. It is. Nobody a couple of hundred years ago could have predicted that. Nobody. It's just amazing.
The killer of the newspapers.
I think probably yes, because if you look back a long time ago, there was a lot more newspapers than there are now.
Oh, yeah.
People would buy a newspaper a couple of times a day 100 years ago. They would get the evening, they would get the afternoon paper, and then they would get the evening paper. And this was their major way of getting news other than the radio. So now it's too slow in a way. If you know where to look, you can get all the news, and you can see it in a matter of just a minute or two, instead of going to buy a newspaper that was printed up the night before in a printing press, and it's just much faster. It's much more direct. And I have the internet to thank for a lot of the attention and the observance of the Rhoads family, because it's so changed things in the last couple of years. It's brought us together with people that years before we would have never been able to contact, and we wouldn't have been able to reach them. So it's amazing to me, to be honest with you.
One last thing there, Kelly. Your CDs, how are the sales doing on those 2 CDs you did?
The sales on Portraits of Oblivion is really good for a classical record. It's technically a classical record, and the sales are pretty good. On the other one, I don't sell as many. My very first effort was Titanic Overture, and that is a 3-part piano concerto.
Right.
And I understand that a lot of people, that might not be their cup of tea, and I can understand that. Portraits of Oblivion has other things in it. It has other components of classical music, and it has different instrumentation, whereas Titanic Overture is simply and only the piano. So the one that sells better is Portraits of Oblivion. But the advanced buzz that we're having for Pride and Profanity is incredible. It's going to definitely put me on the map.
Well,
I can tell already, and it's not even finally mixed.
Well, that's good. I hope my last interview helped you in any ways on your...
It did. As a matter of fact, I'm glad you brought that up. It helped me sell a lot more Titanic Overtures as a result of that interview. And as a result of that interview, I got asked to do a whole bunch of other interviews.
Well, I'm so glad that it helped you out. Because, I mean...
Well, thank you, Jason.
I'm surprised how many hits that those 8 parts or something, or 7 parts, I don't know, made, 2,000 hits each or more now.
Oh my God! Did you see how many hits that thing got at the for the guitar for the NAMM show?
Well, I went to
Last
see it
time
when
I
it
looked,
came
it was
in.
a couple of weeks ago, and it was almost 13,000.
That's unbelievable.
It is. Not when you compare it to Lady Gaga, but for me it is. for me, it's unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. But it's like that. With time, the search engines take effect, and they start cranking out the numbers. People can start finding you.
That's right. Somebody was talking about that just the other day. That is true. That's true, the search engines.
I mean, my tool of what I'm doing to promote people like you, taken me a long time to achieve, the hits and the rankings. It's not an easy thing to do. It takes time and effort.
But after your interview, there was a big spike in the sales of Titanic Overture, especially in the eastern part of the United States. So it really helped.
It could be that it reintroduced, you know, that style and
And
your
that too.
music.
At that and that's true. That's very true too.